Okay, we're back to talk about Hijack Season 2, Episode 2, titled Control, the show on Apple TV. This episode, as was Episode 1, written by Guy Bolton and directed by Jim Field Smith. After taking control of a train, we learn that Sam is pursuing John Bailey Brown, a man linked to Season 1's Kingdom Airlines hijacking, whom Sam believes is hiding in Germany. The U-Bahn Train Control Center attempts to halt the train he's in by leaving an empty vehicle on the tracks ahead. Sam figures it out through a security room feed, seeing that no engineers are actually working on the stalled train, despite what operator Clara has said. Berlin Police Chief Ava Winter and MI5 agent Peter Faber manage the crisis from the control center. While Winter attempts to negotiate with Sam, Faber appears to have some of his own motives for dealing with him. To force the authorities to clear the tracks, Sam uses a passenger, Freddie, as bait. He handcuffs a briefcase to Freddie and sends him on the platform, claiming it contains a bomb. As special forces prepare to move into the train, Sam threatens to detonate the bomb if the tracks aren't cleared by 11 a.m. When they don't move back, Sam says, "I didn't want to have to do this." The camera and the station cuts out, leaving us wondering whether there was an explosion. Elsewhere in this episode, Sam's ex-wife Marcia and her boyfriend Daniel, who we saw in season 1, try to figure out where the flowers she received came from and what they mean. Um, I mean, I want to say that in the best way possible, literally, we didn't go anywhere in this episode, as in like
Yeah.
the train was stuck in one spot. Um, do you feel that we are moving in terms of the plot that we're moving where we need to go after sort of a meandering job to get to the twist at the end of episode 1?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely one where they're releasing it week to week and it leaves you in a moment where you want to press play on the next episode right away.
Yep, yep, yep.
Does that mean does that mean that they should have released this in a different style? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because it's not quite like, oh, we're left on a cliffhanger that poses questions that are going to be really interesting for us to think about and talk through, so much as we're left with a cliffhanger where you're just kind of like, huh,
Yeah.
and I want to know what's next kind of immediately. Um, I will say what I think is perhaps most interesting in thinking about this to me is how we know Sam from season one,
Hmm.
and he's been our protagonist. And I presume you and everyone else watching the show along with me feels like he would not kill this guy.
I certainly don't think so.
Well, so it's interesting then to explore how he's in the position of being the hijacker, right?
Hmm.
Where whatever you think about the idea that he's doing this, we'll talk about that more, I'm sure. But in order for it to work, to what extent do you have to follow through on the threat or what
Yeah,
have you, right?
exactly. Exactly.
So that aspect of what they're playing with here in season two is kind of what I'm most intrigued by, I guess, at this point. What about you?
Yeah, this part, I want to say really to what you were just talking about, left me wanting little bit more because okay, you're left with this idea of oh, these cameras cut out, the control center doesn't know what happened. We don't see anything more about the train, but it's like it's a pretty simple call to your special forces person. Is like, hey, did something happen down there, or is everything fine? And then that's sort of over if nothing happened, and they can just go take him. And so I don't know if it's just the sense of, as in with a plane, you are flying 30,000 feet above everybody else and there's no one else around. Where the train, there's a lot, I guess, easier room to end this situation. Yeah, just sort of wondering how far they can take that when, all right, if he bluffs now and they realize he doesn't have a bomb, they're just going to go take him. It's like, how far can we pull this string, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, so what is his plan here? I think so. The plan was to be like driving the train around on abandoned tunnels or whatever before they got blocked in.
Yep.
And then it's clear enough that the intention with this guy, Freddie, who just like coincidentally happens to stumble into the story in a way where he can be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Whatever, we'll take that as you will. But it seems like okay, the plan there I get relatively well. in tying the suitcase around his hands or whatever. Everyone back off, or I'm going to blow up this suitcase. I'm going to blow up this guy. I'm
Hmm.
going to blow up the train station. Um, but as you say, the I don't know what the right term is because they're German police, but the like SWAT team is right there,
Yeah.
right? And he's sort of gotten them to back off, but they still haven't moved the train, right?
Right. Right.
So it almost feels like you'd have to follow through on the threat to blow up Freddy and the train station. I mean, I don't know how big is this bomb? You got a case full of C4 or whatever. You're going to
Yeah.
collapse the train station. Um, where if that was what he was doing, then it could almost make sense in a way too. Like, all right, now all this rubble is in your way or whatever. I've still got these people
Hmm.
on the train. You need to move the train in front of me, yada, yada, yada. We move forward. Right. So, but if we don't believe that he would do that or does do that, what is he doing? And I struggle to interpret a little bit what he was doing with the Zippo and the trash can full of paper and how that's going to factor in. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, they kept showing him fiddling with this and putting it near certain things. And so, did he do something with that to disable a feed? Did he do something with that to activate something to make it look like he did something that he didn't actually do? You know, but then also part of me thinks, well, you have admittedly told the police that you are hijacking a train. It's like your sort of legal way out of this is really zero. And so if there's something he really wants and will stop at nothing to do it, was he willing to trade one life to show him he's serious to get, this thing moving and get this guy that he wants to for them to find him? I mean, like I said, you've already admitted to hijacking a train. You're going to prison. So how far are you willing to go? I guess I would be surprised if he's willing to kill somebody, but won't completely rule it out.
It's possible, but then the wrinkle there, taking a slightly different direction, is does the show manage to keep us on his side
Hmm.
if he blows up this random guy?
Exactly. Yeah. Who might be annoying, but certainly isn't worth blowing up. He doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, we're already in somewhat questionable territory with our friend Sam hijacking the train, you know,
Right.
and they're withholding. I feel like they're withholding something, you know. Um, Marcia gets those flowers. There's a mention of an anniversary.
Yeah.
In this episode, she goes to call Dan. She's like off somewhere in the middle of nowhere on purpose to reflect or whatever. So she climbs a hill to call Daniel. He didn't send the flowers. We don't know who sent the flowers. That re ups the idea that the people who brought her the flowers are threatening her, or maybe, or something, at least in my mind. But what's in the background of this? Where is her son? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I can't help but think in trying to tie all this together that somehow in the past couple of years, their son has died and it's John Daly Brown's fault somehow.
Okay. This is got to be I think the most realistic theory that this is if it's been 2 years since the hijacking, this is now the 1 year anniversary of his son's death. The people responsible for the hijacking had something to do with that death. And so now he's just, we're throwing all conviction and morality out the window. We're going to take revenge on these people. I mean, that makes the most sense to me. But, yeah, that's a lot of information we don't have yet.
Yeah, agreed. So maybe that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
But to return to the previous question, I feel like I don't know about you, but even if we find out that was the case, right? Even if we find out the Cheapside firm killed Sam's son,
Hmm.
and that's his motivation for doing the hijacking. Okay. Even then, if he blows up this random guy, Freddy, I wouldn't feel like that was a sufficient justification, personally.
No, no. But will a father who lost his son, will he do anything to get the guy who he thinks is responsible in his hands? Maybe. I just don't. That's not the season one Sam that we've seen.
Right. And so, yeah, maybe. but it's they're playing with it. It's clear they're intentionally withholding, and I think part of it boils down to how they wanted to end this episode on the cliffhanger they ended on,
Yeah.
to where we're sitting here talking about, like, is there any possibility that he actually does
Yeah.
blow up that bomb, right? But I still find myself thinking, from what we know of this character, that that's not what he did.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a hard time believing it. Um, and yeah, yeah, I would be surprised if that's what we learn in 6 days from now.
Well, and then he's doing this other stuff with the trash can and the Zippo, and I don't quite understand it, right?
Yeah.
Like, because, as at this point we both pointed out, right? Like, the SWAT team cops are right there, right? They
Yes.
were just down those stairs in the station, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, if the plan was to disable the CCTV or whatever, which whatever he's done, he's clearly done that, right? The
Yeah.
people in the like control center or whatever, their cameras all go out. That's how the episode ends. So I could see in some way, whatever he's done in that room has disabled that feed, and so on. And maybe I just don't have the expertise to understand how a small fire could do that.
Yeah. Do we have
Um,
confirmation that this is, I guess, as it were, an unplanned stop? This is not somewhere that, that the plan laid out that they would be stopping at. It's like you have something planted there, or you have some sort of diversion thing there. But I don't think that they were planning on stopping in this particular spot if they had
Sam, you
decided
mean?
they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam.
No, I don't. I mean, the way that it plays, it seems like when Otto pulls to a stop, Sam is surprised, like, "What are you doing?" And he has
Yeah,
to say,
yeah,
"Oh, there's a stop train in front of us. What do you want me to do?" Right where I'm
exactly,
thinking.
exactly. Yeah,
Um, and then he's further asking him, "Oh, what's that door there?" And so on. So, no, it wouldn't track for there to be something that he's hidden in this place or anything like that.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah,
Then going in a slightly different direction, which again, I don't know if all of his complaints are not. It's almost like I'm not going to know if I'm complaining about the show until we watch episode 3.
yeah,
Because if, like, let's say that this gambit sufficiently worked with Freddy in the suitcase. Well, then what's the plan there? Is it for Freddy to come back with a suitcase?
Y-
Why would this guy feel compelled to come back?
I don't think that he necessarily would. I think that despite whatever is in the suitcase, Sam was happy to leave him behind if they would have moved the train, and he could have moved on, kept the train moving the way that he wanted. But yeah, your leverage to be able to do that is gone if you don't do something to Sam. I mean, I just don't see how that's.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess what I'm thinking is that, like, it seems like this suitcase is his one bomb,
Mm,
unless I'm
yeah,
missing
yeah,
something, right? I mean, so, like, if the plan is I'm going to hijack this train, I'm going to demand that you, like, bring me the head of John Bailey Brown, or I'm blowing up the train.
right.
If you've now, like, given away your bomb, I don't know. I mean, does he have a gun? We haven't seen a gun. Like,
Well,
is he
I
going to
think
threaten to, like, kill every passenger by hand?
yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little confused here about what the
Yeah,
plan
I
is.
think one big piece of information we also don't have is he makes a comment to Otto in this episode about, you know, you knew what you were getting into when you took the money or something.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some sort of conspiracy happening here. How deep does it go? What has Otto done, or what has Otto brought onto the train, or what is, something that they've done to work together that would completely kill their leverage if he gave away one briefcase bomb? Does he have something else that they've been working on that could, serve as the tool to which he could hijack the train? We just don't know yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we should note there also is the lingering question of the possibility that Sam's doing this because he himself is being coerced.
Correct.
We don't know
Yes.
for sure. There is this other thread of the story where we haven't gotten a ton of information yet, where the cops are searching that apartment and all of that, right?
Yeah.
What does carry forward in this episode is that they find a cell phone in the toilet, and it's like the last number dialed was Sam's cell phone, which he left in his hotel room.
Yes. Yes.
Take
So
that as you
we've
will, I
got at
guess.
least three people, four people that we know of that are in on this. Sam, Otto, and one or two fake engineers who went down and diverted the tracks. We don't certainly get a sense that no, John Bailey Brown is not a part of that group. It does not seem, but I mean, it could be that what if the anniversary is referring to they took his son, and yeah, this is a do this and you'll get your son back mission.
Right. And so then, like, but then I think the possibility would be, if you recall from season one, the demand was that they release John Bailey Brown and this other guy, Edgar, right?
Yep,
And by the end of the season, John killed Edgar or had his
yep.
like henchmen do it, right? So we don't know all the details about the structure of the organization with the Cheapside firm or whatever, but there could be some possibility that some other powerful person within that organization wasn't too happy about him doing that, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
That sort of thing where now they're after him. So we don't know. The show's withholding a lot of information.
Hmm.
That apartment, I guess I'm inferring, is probably where they made the bomb, and it probably is a real bomb. Like, why are the cops there in the first place,
Yeah, it
right?
looks like there are a lot of tools and pieces and parts there. So yeah, I think that seems reasonable.
So, okay, think it's real bomb. We don't tend to think that Sam would kill this random guy and blow up the train station, but maybe.
Yeah.
If not, what did he do? Will it work? And so on. We're left with kind of a
Or,
lot of questions
or if
of
he
the
was
sort
not
where I
there,
feel like they'll be immediately answered as soon as we get to episode three.
I hope so. It's could be a sense where okay, he was not there. They called him. So whatever this thing is that he has was put together in this apartment. He thinks it's not a bomb, so I'm fine to send this guy out there, but it is. And they've put him in a situation where okay, now I'm really in trouble. I have to get this whatever it is, get it done. Sort of set him up as it were to accomplish whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish this time. Let's just get more information we don't have.
Yeah, but I also think back to there's this bit in season one, which I know I've watched more recently than you, where the one guy on the plane starts questioning whether the hijackers have real bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it's all blanks or whatever. And I recall this one point where Sam's inference is they must have real bullets. If you were one of these hijackers, would you do it if you didn't have real bullets?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
doesn't think that
that's
they
true.
would. So I would presume here that it's a real bomb. But again, like, is that his only weapon? Um, I don't know. I am really curious to see what happens, like as soon as we push play on episode three, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I did find myself wondering that I like season one as much as I liked it because I was, started five episodes in or whatever and could just fly through most of it. Um, and I feel this pacing concern because it is I'm waiting 7 days between I mean you and I have you and I have the screeners I believe, but we're not watching
Yeah, we're not going
we're
ahead.
watching week to week to try to, stick with the structure of how they're setting it up here. So yeah, certainly I'm tempted, but this is how they wanted it to air for everybody.
Right. Yeah. So like I'm not, as you mentioned, we could, but I'm not going to watch ahead because then that would wreck what we're trying to do on the podcast. But going week to week, like we are.
Yeah.
So I wonder, and what the sentiments are there from others in the world if they're similar. Um, 2 episodes in, I do find myself feeling a little bit like my ultimate recommendation might be, yeah, watch it, but maybe wait and binge it. So,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, hopefully, people who listen to the podcast are doing that. They'll come back with us each week, hear us talk about it. But we'll see where this goes. And with 6 episodes left, right, there have to be some really meaningful twists and turns to
Yeah.
come, right?
Agreed. And yeah, I put this in our as one of the criticisms I think I've seen, or maybe one of the pieces of commentary I've seen the most is Well, this show actually benefited from going from 7 to 6 episodes as opposed to 7 to 8, and I think we need to wait one more episode before we make that distinction to see what is uncovered for us in this next one.
Yeah. And they also haven't really started digging into the dynamics of the people on the train
Exactly.
once they know the situation that they're in.
Somebody else there's got to be involved. I mean, I'm convinced of that based on how episode or how season one went. So yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
someone there is involved.
Yeah. And those passengers are starting to get the sense that something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
I thought about the timing of that. It's like I think it's been an hour or something. I don't know how long I would sit just sort of patiently believing that, something ahead is causing us to have problems before you really start questioning what's actually happening here. And it seemed like they were about to before Freddie kind of got taken over by Sam.
there's also this question though, Ryan, like what can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Like my experience with the New York City subways, every so, often this would happen. You'd be riding the train just stop.
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on? You know? And generally what they would say would be that, maybe it's a recorded message actually, saying, like, we've been delayed by train traffic ahead of us.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, my understanding is that's the same message that you get in an instance where someone fell onto the tracks and died. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
They're still like, they're not getting on the intercom being like, sorry guys, up ahead, someone jumped in front of a train. It's going to be a while. No, they just
But
like,
here's the
we're
difference.
delayed by
So
train traffic ahead of us.
yeah, my last sort of frequent experience on a subway or train, and maybe your last frequent experience subway or train was probably a while back. These people are finding out in real time that there's some sort of terror incident that has caused the whole network to shut down. And so why are they not saying to the driver, hey, get us somewhere we can get out of here, or open this door and let us, go to safety or something. It just they have not. I think Freddie was about there, but just nobody else
Mm.
has sort of gotten to that point yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, that might be coming. When what I was trying to get at is in the from the experience of riding the subway and all of that, is that, sometimes things happen and you don't really have a choice but
Yeah,
patience. You know what I mean?
it's true. If you're in,
Um,
if you're in some sort of claustrophobic part of the track you can't literally get out of, then yeah, you have no choice.
like you could freak out,
Yeah,
but I don't know that it's going to do anything, right?
right.
Or even like Freddie going to talk to the conductor, you know. I think even like his girlfriend or whoever it is in the show is kind of like, why are you doing that? Like
Yeah,
it's not
yep,
gonna
yep,
help.
yep.
The turning point though is when everyone on the train comes to understand the situation they're actually in, and they're
Correct.
not quite there yet. That will be different
Yeah.
insofar as it shifts from um, why am I so delayed in getting to where I want to go to potentially
Yeah.
let us off this train and we'll walk through the tunnels. What are you doing? You're holding us
Th
hostage.
this is one thing I'm really waiting for, right? If that happens, everybody, you're on an airplane. I mean, obviously speculating here, but you're on an airplane. You realize it's being hijacked. Not much you can do. If you're on a train that's sitting still on a track and there are 150 of you on the train, you can figure out a way to get out by force or other means. And so what happens to Sam and the other people involved in this when they start sort of thinking
Yeah.
about that type of plan? That may be coming.
Yeah. Now I don't know. What, can you get into the what's the word I'm looking for? Not cockpit, but
Yeah.
whatever I'm talking about.
Yeah. Just the control car or control room,
Yeah,
whatever.
there's obviously a word I'm not thinking of. All right, can you get through that door? Maybe not, right? Keep that door locked and so on. Can people get through? Sam clearly wants the train to be moving.
Hmm.
That complicates things in terms of the passengers just trying to get off the train.
Yep.
One thing I'm a little bit unsure about is how the emergency brakes work in Germany.
Yeah,
because the show already decided to play with this,
that's
right?
right.
Where Otto had to go back and reset the brake because George had pulled it. Um, my understanding, I did read about this a little bit, but again, it seems like it's different in different countries, and I was struggling to understand exactly what the deal is in Germany specifically. A lot of times, because this is another thing I wonder about sometimes riding the subway in New York City.
Yeah.
It's like, why is there a pull string that says emergency brake that just like anyone could pull? But generally, the conductor has the ability to override that and not and for it to not kick in, is my
Yeah.
understanding around the
Yeah.
world. So like it's there in case the train is out of control and like I don't know, the conductor died or something like that. But if the
Yeah.
conductor is still competent and aware, then the conductor be like, no, we're not stopping. Right. So how exactly does that work here? Because again, the show has already played with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Will that
and if
come
it
into
is,
play because it's already been used? Yeah.
yeah, if it is the case that pulling the emergency brake is going to make the train stop to where the conductor would have to go back into the car to reset the brake, that's potentially a big problem
Yeah. Yeah.
for Sam
Definitely.
moving forward. So I don't know, but I'm sure that we'll start playing with some of those dynamics a bit more as the show proceeds. And I'm kind
Yeah.
of looking forward to that.
I think so. I think so.
First, though, you got to get out of this pickle that they're in. And I don't know how they're getting out of that. I just don't know. Um, it almost would have made more sense to me narratively if what he, what Sam did in episode 2 here had forced or, moved the authorities to move the train.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're going
Exactly.
again. So to instead end the episode the way they did, where it's like the security cameras cut out and all of that, what's happened, what's going to happen next? I don't know. I am looking forward to it. So
Hmm.
show's got that going for it.
Yeah. Same here. I am looking forward to seeing the resolution there. I'm with you. I think this has got to be an episode where we get a healthy amount of information coming up here.
Hope so. All right. Anything else you want to say about episode 2 before we wrap up here?
I think that's it.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks as always for listening. Hopefully you all enjoyed the podcast. So please do leave a good rating, review, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate it. Check out tvobsessive.com for work on TV, past, present, future, what have you. There's all sorts of stuff on there. Poke around. Want to follow the site on social media? If you search for TV Obsessive, you should find us. And as for the podcast, we'll be back with you next week talking about Hijack.
All right. Looking forward to it. We'll see you then.